Pourquoi beben de tramandem? Eta ta combat. Papa fate semben sen karamandem. Eta man de madra chanjo 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 Madra chanjo Eta man de madra chanjo Madra chanjo Eta man de madra chanjo
Mamban man no Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ABS Africa Broadcasting Service, coming to you from the great state of Texas, precisely here in Houston. I am Chris Anu, your anchor man. I'd like to thank you for tuning in today. It is going to be one of those very, very educative, informative, and exciting broadcasts here from ABS, and I want to believe all of you out there had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you, Ground Zero, for tuning in, and Ground One, of course, and all of you in the diaspora, talking about the continental USA, Asia, all of the continent of Africa, from Cairo to Cape Town, from the east to the west, and of course all of South America and Asia, particularly you in China. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you, as usual, joining by way of Facebook, I'd like you to go ahead and quickly populate the platform, as this is going to be really, really powerful, very, very powerful, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you know, nobody can enter the shoes of the anchor man. Nobody can wear the shoes of the anchor man. I am not going to waste time to talk about some of the stuff you are reading out there. I come to you with illuminating, inspiring, and informative program, not to get into the shenanigans of lame duck presidency that is out there, ladies and gentlemen. So please, we don't waste our time on that. Again, those of you joining by way of social media, please go ahead and hit your share button in the very next 5 minutes. Let us get at least 1,000 people joining the broadcast. I'd like to again say hello and good evening to all of Ground Zero, ladies and gentlemen. I know you guys are going through some very, very difficult and frustrating moments in this struggle. The one thing I can assure you is that it will get better. There is no choice. There is no option. The frustrations will always be there. That is why we call this a struggle. That is the reason we call it a struggle. Because of the ups and the downs. Because of human character, ladies and gentlemen, that plays in today's. But I want to assure you, we are looking for a better organization that will prosecute this revolution going forward. And so in spite of the crisis that you find at the level of the interim government, I want to assure you the interim government will remain strong, vibrant, and a little more proactive than what you find today. So there may be darkness today. You know, the proverb says there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Always light at the end of the tunnel. That is what everybody out there should expect from what the interim government is going through at the moment. Now, I specify the interim government because, ladies and gentlemen, the interim government is the one prosecuting this revolution. Without the interim government, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know where we would be today. But thanks to the interim government, we have made tremendous progress. Prosecuting this revolution. We have taken it to the international community, not enough as many of you would expect, but we have done so. And our cry is being heard across the globe. The interim government has prosecuted the war on Ground Zero by equipping our forces from county to county, LGA to LGA. Again, thanks to the interim government. And when this is said and done, I bet you it can only be better. It can only be better. But what the interim government is going through today, ladies and gentlemen, again, I can assure you it is very, very important. And I want you to listen to me very, very carefully. Again, it is very, very important because we created a government from the beginning of this conflict. We created a government from the beginning of this conflict. Some people among us Ambazonians, didn't like the idea of a government. But nobody can deny that the government has done much good than anticipated, and that it is now in crisis should not be a lot of problems. Because listen, this struggle is not going anywhere. It is not dying. They would have to kill some of us to kill this struggle. Ladies and gentlemen, take it to the bank. They will have to kill some of us to kill this struggle, and they would have to kill some of us to kill this interim government. What is going on in the interim government is a growth crisis. A growth crisis. And it is important because we must be careful. When we call it a government, let it be a government. I have read some people out there saying, oh, you don't conduct elections, you don't talk about elections, you don't do elections in the revolution. This is not a revolution in that place. This is a struggle. And remember, somebody has also quoted the Palestinians that, oh, the Palestinians never changed their government during their Palestinian conflict with Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, those people saying this are people incapable of doing the least research on some of these conflicts that they are quoting. Yasser Arafat stayed in power going through elections, ladies and gentlemen, in the Palestinian Authority. Remember, in Palestine, you have Hamas, you have there is one other. What is the name of that other group? Even before you have the Yasser Arafat group, and Arafat stood elections upon elections to remain leader of the Palestinian Authority. Theirs was a struggle. It's still a struggle as ours. And so the idea that no, there should not be elections, let's have another eternal Paul Beer to get to Boyer, is born out of greed and fraud and corruption, ladies and gentlemen. I will say that today and say it tomorrow. It is born. Listen, let us start practicing governance. Again, if we call ourselves a government, we have to start practicing governance. Nobody, as so far as I have heard, has said nobody. The president cannot stand or should not stand election. He is the one saying he will not stand elections. I think the president should stand election to test his popularity and also to test the job he has been doing for the past 2 years. That is what we are asking for. We're not asking him to go. I know others are calling him outgoing president. That may happen down the road, but as of now, we're asking him to stand elections to test his popularity and the job he has done for the last 2 years. That is what democracy is about. And when you form a government, that is what you should be expecting. All right. So I'm not going to waste time to talk about some of the things that you read out there. They don't matter. They don't matter, ladies and gentlemen. We pay allegiance, all of us. We have allegiance first to Ambazonia before individuals. That is very, very important. We pay allegiance to Ambazonia before individuals. We are partners in this struggle for Ambazonia, not for individuals. This is very, very critical. And so the people out there who are trying to break this interim government into pieces, including the president. Ladies and gentlemen, we will not allow that to happen. And let me say it up front to you. We are hearing of a certain conference, ASSC2, in Washington, D.C. or somewhere. It is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Don't even count for it. Mark my word for it, ladies and gentlemen. Until this government is fixed, until the problems are solved, we cannot be pacifying people with structures and conferences that do not solve problems. Let's stop running away from problems. Start resolving those problems. The president is running from forum to forum, creating forum to forum, forming women's group here and there, ladies and gentlemen, creating new LGAs, creating new... I cannot even name those things. I cannot even name those things. He is on television saying this or saying that. I wish he would exercise this zeal in solving the problems that are so many in this interim government. The problems I brought to his attention, into the attention of the Restoration Council. The problems that are now splitting, ladies and gentlemen, this interim government. I wish he would employ the zeal of the meetings and the fora and the fractionalization he is creating today to resolve problems in the interim government. Can you imagine? The president cannot talk to his own vice president. The president attacks his own Restoration Council chair and the Restoration Council itself. The president is leaking out classified information from the Restoration Council. The president is not talking to his own spokesperson. I am referring to yours truly, ladies and gentlemen. How did we get here? How did the man we trusted with authority and with power, how did he become a loner? How did he become a loner? So, I will just leave it there. I'm going to take this on a different occasion, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to get into this, but we will get to these things in a very different show. I'm not going into the details. We're going to be having a good discussion on this, but for today, we will talk AFCON. AFCON, we will talk. I will also bring you a short monologue. A short monologue today. And also we will talk about the letter from the statement from the Restoration Council to President Dr. Samuel Sako'S limiting his powers, ladies and gentlemen, limiting his powers for so far as appointments are concerned. We're going to be talking about that. And also the so-called ASSC2, which is being announced for Washington, D.C. in March. We will have to talk about that. I have two very important guests here with me all the way from the Restoration Council, and they will be enlightening all of us, ladies and gentlemen, with what is going on at the Restoration Council and in the struggle for as far as these limitations are concerned, elections and the Constitution. There is also this question that I have seen out there. Did Dr. Epa, one of our guys at the Restoration Council, did he go to Cameroon in 2018 and contest elections? That is the rumor mill that we hear out there. He is here. He will answer that question by himself, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you for tuning in. We got a very, very packed agenda here. But I like to start with AFCON, ladies and gentlemen. AFCON, as you know, started yesterday in La République du Cameroon. That is not important because we don't care what goes on there. What is important is what they plan for Ambazonia. Now, we have all now learned we have all now learned that La République du Cameroon has flooded all the streets and all the towns, of course. The towns of Boya, the towns of Moyoka, Ekona, Munya, Mutengen, Tico, Victoria. The towns are flooded with French Cameroon terrorist soldiers, and they are out actually terrorizing the inhabitants of Fako. Now, you will expect that when they go out to play this tournament, so-called AFCON, African Cup of Nations, you would want to think it should be a celebration moment, a moment of jubilation, excitement all over the place. No, that is not what is happening in Ambazonia, in Fako in particular, that is hosting the competition. Instead, the cities and the towns have been policed and militarized, and the colonial officials in the city are asking everybody to stay home. We support that. That has been our position from day number one. I guess they are sensing the security threat out there, and they are asking everybody to stay home. No meetings, no gatherings anywhere. We are all in agreement with that. When I say we, I mean we are the interim government, and we, all of us Ambazonians, we have announced previously that beginning today, Monday, January the 10th, everybody in Fako, please stay home. Do not go to any gatherings. Now, I do not mean that you cannot go to your business. No, we did not declare a ghost town, except for our regular Mondays ghost towns. We did not declare a lockdown. You go about your business, you leave your business, you go back home, take care of your family. Other than that, please, no funerals, please, no marriages, no death celebrations, no partying at all. If I were you, I would not even set foot in any beer parlor. If I were you again, I would not be setting foot in any beer parlor, no matter the tranquility that you may find out there. It is false tranquility, because French Cameroon soldiers are littered everywhere in the civilian fatigue, and you would not know who they have to shoot. So please, do not even think of going to the beer parlor. Do not think of going to any social gathering anywhere in Fako, beginning today till this so-called AFCON thing is over. That is assuming that we have the temerity to play those matches and continue the tournament in Victoria. But to then, everybody in Fako is advised. You go out in the morning, go take care of your business, return home. Don't join any groups that you find gathering or gathered anywhere, because your life will be in danger. Your life will be in danger. I saw a press statement that La République du Cameroon sent out a few days ago, naming some of us who are on the ground or coming to the ground, coming to Ambazonia to come and stop AFCON. What a wishful thinking, ladies and gentlemen. He actually gave me a particular name that I will be using to enter Ground Zero. I don't remember what that name is. That thing is written in French. They only told me that I have been given a name with which I am sneaking myself to Ground Zero to stop AFCON. La République is just so, and they pay money for this intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. They pay money, taxpayers' money, for this stupid intelligence that we are sneaking into Ambazonia with pen names, fake names. I am here in America. I don't have need to come there to stop AFCON. The only reason I will come there is to come and celebrate Independence Day, October 1st. Ladies and gentlemen, you can wait for me on October 1st. Trap me on October 1st. I will try to make sure I get there. All right. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, APPOINT started in a very disgraceful way. In a very, very disgraceful way in the colonial capital Yaoundé. First of all, there was this statue that they erected, ladies and gentlemen, to celebrate that APPOINT. Now you look at that image, it's a crumbling image. What do you think that this thing signifies? This is a crumbling image, ladies and gentlemen. Again, what do you think that this crumbling image signifies? This crumbling image signifies a crumbling La République du Cameroon. A crumbling La République du Cameroon. That is exactly what that thing signifies. Now you realize that the people standing around it, they are trying to get it up. Look at that. They are trying to get that image to stand back up. It is not. It is just spinning round and round and refusing to stand. Never again will Cameroon stand with Ambazonia, ladies and gentlemen. That is what this means. That is what this means. Never again will Cameroon stand again, not with Ambazonia. And what you find there on your screen is indication that the 2 cubes of sugar they left and they went for good. That is a crumbling La République du Cameroon, ladies and gentlemen. But that was the beginning of their APPOINT, the beginning of their APPOINT in a disgraceful way. But you think that that was all. That wasn't all. Paul Biya slummed, ladies and gentlemen. He slummed right after making a speech, making a presentation in that stadium. He slummed. You could, I don't have that image here, but you could see his guards trying to pick him back up. Paul Biya slummed. The only thing I can say out of that again is Cameroon is a slumping nation. La République du Cameroon is a slumping nation. It will never be the same again for as long as Ambazonia is gone. But one thing that really stood out, amazing, and let me put it this way, amazing, was the presence, ladies and gentlemen, of Agobala in that stadium. Look at that. Now, this is Agobala, ladies and gentlemen. This is Agobala. I don't know, I think that should be, this must be in Yaoundé. This must be in Yaoundé. Agobala is seated there. Somebody have called, some people have called it what you see right here on your screen. That is what special status, ladies and gentlemen. That is, Agobala is essentially manifesting his special status in La République du Cameroon. This is a young man, ladies and gentlemen, that Ambazonians died for. Ambazonians protested for his release. This is a young man that Ambazonians paid money for his release from the dungeons of La République du Cameroon. He has since embraced the slave. In fact, the day that Agobala came out of prison, he did not go straight to his house. He went straight to the colonial governor office. He went straight to the colonial governor's office and bowed down to thank the colonial governor, Okalia, for getting him, I guess, released from the dungeons of Kondenge in Yaoundé, and since then, Agboogbala continued to be the number one apologist on ground zero for La République du Cameroon. It is quite unfortunate, but I think for the record, at this moment of this struggle, I think it is very, very necessary that Ambazonians begin to keep record of who is standing on the way to the fight for a free and independent Ambazonia. Agboogbala is number one. That is just for the record. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will now take you to my monologue, a short monologue that I prepared here for you, and it is important I note to you, this monologue wasn't written by me. It's written by a very, very prolific writer, and I thought it's quite a food for thought for all of us who are fighting to free Ambazonia. It is very, very, it is a kind of an assessment. As you listen to it, I'd like you to make an assessment of it. Use it to make an assessment, ladies and gentlemen. Use it for an assessment of what we have done in this struggle. This monologue has to do with our assessment of how far we have gone. We are 5 years. 5 years in this struggle, and I hope that this monologue, this talking point, will give us a good picture of where we are, what we have done or achieved so far. How to oust an oppressor is the subject of this talking point. There are things that shows that a stranger is occupying your land. A stranger is occupying your land. Number one, his flag. If the stranger or oppressor has his flag flying on your supposed territory, it means such a stranger is accepted by the people. So whatever you do with a stranger's flag, still allowed to fly over our territory, means that we are not ready yet for serious business. The first step to show that you are ready for serious business is to take away the oppressor's flag from our land, even though we may not yet mount ours first, until we have fulfilled all required to possess our own land. The fact that there is no flag officially mounted means that your land and people are going through a process. Number two, the oppressor's anthem. The oppressor's anthem we must reject the oppressor's anthem and teach his own people teach our own people our own anthem. This shows that the people are now awake to the reality that they don't belong to the oppressed, but that their destinies are in their own hands. Singing your own national anthem instead of that of the oppressor encourages the people and gives hope to all. The oppressor's officers, those who work for or occupy positions set up by the structures of the oppressor, must either publicly deny their affinity with the oppressor and align with the oppressed, or be ousted from such offices by the oppressed. Number two, the oppressor's military or police. The oppressed must see to it that the oppressor's armed forces have no grounds anymore within the territories of the oppressed, or that They are constantly and consistently engaged until they no longer have a hold on the territories of the oppressed. So the oppressed will be sure that our people are no longer exposed to the oppression of his oppressor. Number 5, police replacement, the oppressor's police replacement. The oppressed must ensure he provides adequate security within his territory in order to ensure that our own people do not get out of control and begin to destroy themselves through criminal activities. Number 6, resource control. Who control the resources? The oppressed must ensure he takes control of government business within the territory and see to it that companies or organizations who do business within our territory do not give tax or pay tax to the oppressor. So the oppressor will not continue to use our own resources or wealth from our territory, from our territory to continue to destroy our people or impoverish them. Number 7, international community. The oppressed must reach out to other nations of the world. We heard Thibault Nudge. The oppressed must reach out to the international powers that be to see to it that other peoples of the world recognize our sovereignty and begin to relate with her like they would any sovereign nation in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it. It's a food for thought, a moment of stock taking. Again, that is how you measure the progress that we make, ladies and gentlemen. The flag, La République du Cameroon's flag is still standing in buildings, erected in buildings all over Amazonia. The national anthem, they are still singing their national anthem in our territory and within the buildings, the structures in our territory. Of course, we have our own anthem which is being sung everywhere. That is a good thing. We have our own flag which is being erected even on ground zero. Those are good indications we are making progress. But what about the resources? They are still reaping our resources. How about the police and the military? They are still occupying our territory, raping, killing, torturing, and burning down our towns and villages and killing our people. We got to arrest that. And how about the international community? Ladies and gentlemen, if anything we took away from Thibault Nudge's interview here the other day, it is we need to do more international outreach to sell our case until La République du Cameroon sees the need to get to the negotiation table. Very, very critical. Very, very critical, ladies and gentlemen. These are the things that we use, the yardstick we use in measuring how far we are gone, in this struggle. Now, having said that, I'd like to come to you, ladies and gentlemen, with a communique from the Restoration Council. A communique from the Restoration Council, ladies and gentlemen, limiting the powers of the President, Dr. Samuel Ekome Sako. And I will try to see I can read that statement for those of you who have not heard that statement. I like to read it to you. And when after I read the statement to you, I will bring in my panel, which is coming from the Restoration Council, to throw a little more light into this and other issues going on at the Restoration Council level and at the national level. Now, this letter again is coming from the Restoration Council, and it reads, the heading says, The Restoration Council Government Affairs Committee recommends the executive branch of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia to suspend nominations and appointments due to interim government internal issues and drafting modalities for future presidential electoral process. That is the subject of this statement coming again from the Restoration Council. And it reads, Dear President Samuel Ikome Sako, the Restoration Council Government Affairs Committee, during its working session today, December 30th, now note the date, December 30th, 2021, noted that our interim government is currently plagued with many issues that could impact the struggle negatively. We understand, now the Restoration Council continues, we understand that it is within your constitutional authority to nominate or reshuffle your cabinet to effectively prosecute the struggle. Per your communication with Chairman of the Restoration Council, Elvis Comenta, on December 29, 2021, indicating your intention to reshuffle the cabinet, the Government Affairs Committee in wise counsel, would appeal you hold off this action at this time. This would help the Restoration Council navigate the complex issues as well as start working on an electoral process for the presidential office. We are also, the letter continues, recommending some Restoration Council leadership representatives meet with you and some of the executive branch leaders to clarify the way forward. Below, they say, are other reasons observed by the committee. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm reading to you a letter from the Restoration Council, signed by the chair of the Restoration Council, Honorable Elvis Comenta. So it says, below are other reasons observed by the committee, that is the Government Affairs Committee. Number one, your presidential 2-year mandate has expired, which the Restoration Council would like to start working on the process that may include an amendment to the interim constitution. There is a very serious internal crisis. That's number two. Point number two, they say, there is a very serious internal crisis in the cabinet and other departments in the executive branch that the Restoration Council is working hard to resolve. It continues, we have come to realize that any cabinet appointments or nomination at this time will worsen the crisis that are already plaguing our interim government. Point number three, the Restoration Council says, we also understand that both the executive and legislative, referring to the Restoration Council, branches of the interim government have equal powers. Equal powers. They act as checks and balances on each other. Therefore, in order to charter a way forward for the interests of the people of Ambazonia, the Government Affairs Committee is requesting your collaboration in this matter by allowing about 30 days for the Restoration Council to work in bringing resolutions as quickly as possible. Now the last paragraph says, we recommend and appeal that for the interest of constitutional fairness and administrative stability in the prosecution of the Ambazonian liberation struggle, you hold off reshuffling the cabinet, make appointments, or make executive orders at this time. Your positive response to this matter, for the sake of the Ambazonia people, will greatly be appreciated. Dawned this day, Thursday, December 30th, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, dawn December 30th, 2021. That letter I just read to you came out last night from the Restoration Council, and I am now being joined, ladies and gentlemen, by two Restoration Council chiefs who are going to throw a little more light into this document. This document since went out, I think it went out again, that was again done December 30th, 2021. Dr. Epa seems to be frozen. I hope he's listening to me to reconnect. But for the moment, I am joined by Reverend Njini. I am joined by Reverend Njini Alfred, joining me from Europe, who is also a member of the Restoration Council. Dr. Epa, if you are listening to me, please can you connect your camera? You seem frozen on my screen here, so turn on your log out and log back in, log out and log back in. I think that will be the solution to that. So let me get to Reverend Njini, who is joining me from Germany and who is one of the members of the Restoration Council. Ladies and gentlemen, now you will understand the Restoration Council is essentially the National Assembly. The National Assembly for the people of Ambazonia. They are the people that make laws, they make regulations. We have heard previously when elections talks began that the Restoration Council cannot call for elections. They cannot change the constitution and so on. But let me go to this document that came out. Reverend Alfred, sir, it's a pleasure to have you here at ABS.
Thank you very much, Uncle Man Secretary Chris. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me here today. And special greetings to all fans and viewers of this ABS television. We hope to have a wonderful time together.
Thank you. Thank you. Now you have listened to this letter that I just presented out there. You people sat and you deliberated and you came out with this document. Why is the document still coming out today?
Maybe it's coming out to the public today, not meaning that it's coming out today. You know, you see, it was drafted on the 30th of December and directed to the cabinet or the presidency of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Now, I think it will be clear for every one of us here to know that this information has gone through to the right quarters. And while it's coming out to everyone now, may have been the tracking part of information, but then it has reached the appropriate quarters in the right timing. So maybe people are just getting it now because it's released within the social media now, but the information has gone through when it was done, 30th of December.
Wonderful. Now, as you are aware, we all are aware, thank God Dr. Epa is now joining us. As you are aware, let me get to Dr. Epa and ask him, I guess, the same question, why this document is now being made public only now. Was it forwarded to the president on December 30th, Dr. Epa, and only made public today?
The chairman sent it to the president and wanted that it should be done behind first. I think just for collaboration's sake, but it has come out today because there are other events that are coming it is as if the Restoration Council is not trying to work. So I think that's why the chairman decided to send it out today, because other events have decided to make it possible to be sent out today.
All right. Now, another question that you have heard out there has to do with the Constitution that swore in the president, the outgoing president, Dr. Sako'S, into office. That is my opinion. You don't have to buy my opinion there. But there's been the president came out and contended that the Constitution need to be revised for him to stand in the election. He has now, as we all know, said he is not going to stand for any election. The question that Ambazonians are asking is, what happened that within 2 years after the swearing in of the president, neither the Restoration Council nor the president thought about revising that constitution? Dr. Epa, please.
I think it was actually taken on behalf of the Restoration Council, and also I believe on the executive, the president and his executive members. We all regret about that. That something would have been done very fast. It just after of the thing. But my own way of feeling about it is a working of something that was done in 2018, and it needs a lot of revival. All of us agree on that. Either the president or the Restoration Council, we agree on that. The issue here is where some members are specifically the executive members and the president feel that without the constitution there will be no election. After accepting the two-term presidency on that day of inauguration, that is where some Ambazonians have a very serious concern. And on Saturday, no, Sunday, I was on ABC, and I make sure that the Ambazonians really know there are many things that are going on that will follow without that constitution. Number one, the defense law originated from the presidency.
Which law was that?
The defense law.
Okay.
It was drafted by the president, I would say in the presidency's office. It was sent to the Restoration Council. We debated on that defense law for 3 consecutive sessions. And after that, a few members were asked to edit that bill. We did that, and now it is law. It is not in the Constitution. There are other regulations, I would say, or policies, like the APP, that is also in place. It is not in the Constitution, but it is being followed. In fact, even the executive orders from the president are also followed. That is how Momo County had its election. But for most of the Ambazonians, especially those in the executive, thinking that, the elections cannot hold because there is nothing in the Constitution that says that there should be election. To me, it's a deception to our people. And on that day, I made a certain statement. I said, when the president, during the inauguration, with the time
I think we are losing you, Dr. APPOINT.
He said, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Whether he said yes or no, because to him, he didn't want to say, to him, he went ahead, said on the national TV, and did it to an accident. That when you have an accident, you don't need to say anything to the person who hit your car, or maybe you hit the person's car, because the law is on your side. You wait until the police officers come, and then you can make a statement. Like in that celebration day to be an accident. That is not good enough for our people, and it's not even good for the international community to hear. And I said it was a contract, express or implied contract. An express and implied contract. Simply, I made 3 or 5 points regarding that. I said such a contract may be entirely oral. Number 2, partly oral and partly written. Number 3, entirely written. Number 4, partly oral or written and partly implied from the conduct of the parties. And number 5, wholly implied from the conduct of the parties. And I said, no lawyer on earth can me on that. That's business. So when you stood there and you took that oath, that was a contract with Amazonian people before God and in the presence of the international community. That was a contract. And therefore, saying that it was not in the Constitution, that is not good enough, because that was a contract. And to wait for 2 years, a president waiting for 2 years, then comes out and says that, oh, it was not in the Constitution, and that it was just like an accident. That was waiting. It was not very good. The Amazonians should be rejected outright. Thank you very much.
Reverend Ginny, you know, this same constitution was used to impeach Sisiko. This same constitution was used to conduct the elections that brought in Dr. Sako. And you guys stipulated that within 2 years it will be revised. Now I am hearing rumor out there that the Restoration Council has given the president until, I mean, not the president, but has put out a timetable of 6 months within which to revise the constitution, conduct elections. My question is, the 2 terms that you specify in your swearing in are over. If that same constitution was good enough with which to impeach Sisiko, whereas there was no name, nothing like impeachment in that constitution, if that constitution was good enough to swear in the outgoing president, why isn't it good enough to conduct another election, and after conducting an election, you then call for a constitutional amendment? So in my opinion, trying to revise a constitution within 6 months is just unrealistic. You don't rush over a constitution, isn't it?
Perfect, Uncle Man. Very perfect what you said. The 6 months given out there from the communication, of the ROC is not about amending the constitution. It's about putting modalities for the elections in place. And I think that should be clear. That is the reason why it is well communicated, articulated in that document. It is not about amending the constitution because, like you say, it takes time to work out. The constitution we have, like Dr. Epa said here, is a working, temporary working document. We're talking about the interim government with an interim constitution. And that word interim simply means the intervening time, a period of intervention. That means why things are being processed or put in place or being structured. So we don't have a full constitution for a full nation. And I like Ambazonians to understand that while we are working on the temporary document that has a lot of lapses and need to be restructured, which was good from the foundational base to be put to give a guide and a sense of direction for the emerging country. As we're working out our way to Buya. Once we arrive in Buya, there will be a review of that and full amendment and a lot of things put in place. And like Dr. Epa said here, what we are suffering, Ambazonians are suffering here now are the challenges of growth. And they must understand that with every organization, even civilized democratic nations like America, they still have to vote bills and go through the necessary process in order to bring them and include into the law.
You are very right. I'm not stopping you there. I will get back to you. You're making reference to America. You are very right. And I think our constitution, the interim constitution we're referring to, actually makes provision in the terms of reference, which you guys have. It gives you guys at the ROC the powers to make rules for the immediate and laws in court for the future. So, to me, it is within the constitutional right of members of the Restoration Council to say, hey, yes, the constitution is not yet revised, but it's going to be an election. Isn't it?
Exactly, because that is what happened that brought about the installation of the leader we have now in power, like we mentioned already from the beginning. Now, there was a challenge, or there was a crisis that called about, I don't know that you're getting me. Can you give me two?
I'm getting you. Go on, please.
Yeah, I was saying now Ambazonians must come to the point to understand what brought about that short-term election that brought the installation of our president, the interim president that we have at the moment. And now not just be moved about the challenge and misinterpretation of the constitutional structure that is already in place, even the temporal. Now, in every organization with a law enforcement that guides, there is always a provision to what we call ethical cases, meaning there will be situations not like others, meaning there could not be any reference to be able to do quick diagnosis and have a way through. But then the leadership or the executive of that government or that structure must come together and reason together. What is the fastest way to rescue a situation? Now, every Ambazonian understands that we have a crisis, and this crisis has been growing or escalating, which is a major challenge. When you look back to the beginning of the installation of our President Sako'S, who is there in the government at the moment, there was a crisis moment, and when the leadership of the Ambazonians came together, they concerted, within the guidelines of the constitution, and then decided that we needed somebody to step in and fill the gap that has been emptied or is leaking or is at stake. And they impeached the man that was adopted and then installed the president, like Dr. Epa said here, with a commitment. It was a provisional commitment that while it will be done within time, we will see. And then, like you asked Dr. Epa from the beginning, it's been 2 years. What has been done? That is true. Nobody had thought that this revolution, revolution will last for a year. That is true. We are now the 5th year, going to the 6th year. And we thank God for the grace that was this far. But thought it was going to last that long. While the interim government was put in place with a focus of arriving Buya sooner or as soon as possible, the interim constitution was a guide to help us, and so that we can arrive. And then the provision there is talking about the subtle government, the structured government upon arrival in Buya. Nobody knew when it was going to be and how it was going to be. So Ambazonians should be able to ask the question at the moment, or to come back to their senses. What prompted the need to get an interim president and to install him through the oath of commitment, which was a challenge at the time? And at the moment, you just read the release from the Restoration Governing Council to the presidency for the challenging situation at the moment that we are living in a crisis moment. And every Ambazonian understand and accept that there are crises plaguing the interim government, plaguing the struggle, and we need to rescue them. You know, and it is a very complex time to take any move. While it is being processed, like I've mentioned already, this communication is not talking about the amendment of the law, but the modalities of the election, because we don't want just to be in a hurry. We want to put the modalities in place for whoever is going to stand in to continue to lead, because we don't know, like you mentioned, this struggle, we don't know whether within 2022 we are arriving Buya, or the next 2032 or 2025, whatever. But we are not depending on any person. It's not about anybody. It's about Ambazonia and the nation of Ambazonia and the future of Ambazonia. So that anything that is done within the Restoration Council or at any level back in the government or the executive or the cabinet, it should be with the views of the people of Ambazonia, not about anybody. Now, we are tempted to be blown by the wind of politics, you know, to stand up at any point to defend who we want, what we want, than to defend the very image of the people and the security of the nation at stake. That is the challenge we have at the moment. So when we come back to, just to add to the words of Dr. Epa here, we discovered there was a crisis that brought about that need for that temporary election, that brought in the interim president we have. And it was done, and the oath of office was given unto him. He took the oath of office. That is true. He committed himself to that, and to undermine that at the moment is something that is not to be thought about or to be talked about, even on the media. That is true.
All right, if I may get to Dr. Epa. Dr. Epa, you have heard the Dr. Sako say that he is not standing for any elections. The constitution is unconstitutional for any elections. How is the Restoration Council looking into that statement from the president?
Well, the Restoration Council meeting last Sunday overwhelmingly supported that there will be election within 6 months. That shows that anything that the president said, as far as the Restoration Council is concerned, the Restoration Council is representing the people of Ambazonia. Members are from every local government area. In fact, it is more inclusive than the president or I would say the executive. In the executive, it's only the president who is supported. He's the only one person. The rest who are there are appointed. Therefore, they are right to support him because they are under him. But in the Restoration Council, that is the law-making body of the people of Amazonia, like in any other country. Whether the president says he's not going to run for the election, that is good for him. But as far as the Restoration Council is concerned, they'll be unelected.
And let me add that. Let me just add to what you say. When the president mentioned that he's not ready for any election, one of the things he said very clear was the fact that he is bringing this matter to the popular opinion, which is a court of the people of Ambazonia. Now, how does that work? It has to do with democracy. And this democracy is manifested through an electoral process. So it's a call for the people to come to a reasoning, to an understanding. And Ambazonians must understand, like Dr. Epa said here, that the Restoration Council is the highest law organ of or they are the custodians of the law of Amazonia. Now, they must understand that the words of the president needs to be guided by the Restoration Council, needs to be in line with the law, and anything against that contradicts the very democracy that we are trying to establish. We are fleeing from a regime of molest and torture, marginalization, and all that is evil, that is difficult even to mention. And we cannot afford for any reason to be avoiding and trying to run out of something, and then we want to do the worst of it. Now, the president of the Southern Cameroons, Amazonia, is not above the Restoration Council. He is the first personality of the nation, but he's under the law of the legislation or the Restoration Council. Now, you just mentioned from the beginning here, when Dr. Epa mentioned about the law that was drafted within the presidency, sent to the Restoration Council. Why? Because they have to vet that law, and they did, and even edited it before they included into to make it become a law for him to go ahead with the appointment of the defense chairs. That is true. When he does that, it's going to secure him. We in democracy, nobody has the power for the people. It is the people that have the power for the way forward, and they are guided by the law. So Amazonia should be waiting and ready to hear what the Restoration Council says more than anybody says. Because take the president, the present president who is there standing for election, other people, candidates who are coming to stand for the election, everybody will say what they say in their conviction. But then they need to be scrutinized through the light of the law and to understand the level of their power and authority. We have heard, it has been tested and proven that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts. That is what has characterized power in Africa. And as Africans trying to emerge and come out to the limelight of real democracy, we need to fight all those distractions and all those shortcomings of our limitations as individuals, and walk in the light of the law which is in place. Dr. Epa just made mention here, the people within the cabinet appointed by the president, some are vetted, some are not vetted, yet they have to pay allegiance to the president. That's the temptation, at within some of the continents in our world, that because you appoint me, I have to yield to you and even follow you sheepishly, without defending the law, without speaking out. There are some that will be dying in silence and say, well, I took the oath to serve him or whatever, but which is not supposed to be.
No,
so Ambazonians must.
Secretary Chris, let me just
hold on a second. Hold on for a second, Dr. Epa. Let's set the record straight. The Restoration Council isn't barring the president from contesting re-election, isn't it?
No way.
No.
They are not barring anybody. I mean, when the modalities are there, they will give the chances to know how many candidates are given chances to come up, and anybody that shows up, the president is number one because he's already there in government. Any other person that shows up have to line up with the president. So they're not barring the president.
So now the president has said he is not standing any elections. In fact, they crafted a document that made the rounds. I'm sure it was forwarded to you at the Restoration Council, signed by the Judiciary Council, the spokesman, the guy with about 10 titles to himself, arguing that the Constitution says the president has to be eternal until Boya. How does the Restoration Council handle this? When you have a situation where the president is essentially saying, I am here to Boya. How does the Restoration Council handle this? Barrister Dr. Epa, please.
Secretary Chris, I said this thing on Sunday. The Constitution, our interim Constitution says that this interim government will lead Ambazonians to Boya and will be in place for 3 years before it is stopped. It is envisioned that within the 3 years, a lot of structures, new constitution, and other things will be done. And after the 3 years, it will be stopped. That constitution, which they now go so fast on it, did not say, Dr. Epa, you lead us to Boya. Reverend Jane, you lead us to Boya. We did not say, Chris, you lead us to Boya. And it is whosoever is there at that time is going to lead us to do. It is the IG, this interim government that is going to lead us. Not a particular person. I want our people, I want the authorities to understand it. So we have to be very honest. We have to know that, like what Reverend Ginny has said, we don't have to support things that are wrong. Personally, I believe that salvation is personal. Therefore, whether you are my mother, my father, my sister, my children, when you do something wrong, I will advise you. I will advise you more and more. But if you continue to do it, God will know that I've done it. I'll wipe my hands. Because while we are here on this TV, it is being recorded by God. Everybody has a record in heaven. That's book of records. And my soul is more important than anybody. I'm not going to support anybody uselessly when I know that it is my soul which is more important than any other thing. So I believe that what I do should be something that I know is right for my soul. As simple as that. I'm not going to support anybody when I know you are doing something wrong. So this question of not standing for election, that's fine. If the president does not stand for election, that's fine. Everybody has the right to do. Nobody is saying anybody.
Dr. Epa, the question is not whether he is standing. The question is, if he says he is not standing for elections and he is not passing over power as he swore to do when he was sworn in. Remember, he lifted his hand and said he will conduct elections and peacefully transfer power to any other person who wins. But he is now saying he is not going anywhere. So what happens when you conduct your election and he doesn't participate? You get a new leader and he is sitting there and saying, I'm going nowhere. What does the Restoration Council do?
Secretary, please, nobody is above this revolution. Nobody is above Ambazonian. At that time, the law is going to take its course. The law is going to take its course at that time. But for now, I have nothing against it.
Reverend Ginny, I see you are trying to say something there.
Yeah, I just wanted to recall the case of the Democracy of America through their last elections. Just have the review of what happened with President Trump. You know, he used to sign for peaceful transition if election doesn't favor him. That was it. But the people did not bother. They went ahead, did the election, followed through, and the law was put in place. You know, and the one that was justified to be the winner took over, and things are going. That is a simple truth. The law is in place and needs to be reinforced when the need comes. Whatever, without the law, there will be chaos in democracy, and we are going up where the people are abused at the expense of one man or any individual. Now, you just made mention about the document that may have come to the Restoration Council, whether we saw it or not. Maybe some people saw it, some of us did not see. But
it was actually addressed to the Restoration Council. You probably got it.
Yeah. That's it. But then I got exactly the information you were giving from the president's speech, end of year speech, because in it, when you follow through, it made mention very clearly. He said the decision of the Restoration Council towards election or whatever is nil by the majority opinion of the Judiciary Council. We want to make Ambazonians understand these three arms of government. We have the legislative, which is the Restoration Council or the General Assembly of the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. We have the executive branch of this government, which is the cabinet. And we have the judiciary, which is not yet functional at the moment because we don't yet have court of our own to be able to try some matters the way it is. That is why sometimes the crisis that was handed over to the Restoration Council are taken time because there's a procedure to follow through. There is not a court anywhere where you just bring the people and then examine the cases and treat them the way it is. We have to go through the protocol of their management, and we have not everybody's at the different ends of the world, but have to go through the trial. So there is need for time for the process to go through with interviews verified, because it's not what somebody says that is true. It has to be verified. Now Ambazonians must understand that the judiciary doesn't have any power to vote into place and put laws in place. Their power and their right has to do with executing the law that has been drafted by the legislation and handed over to them, and they have to work together, because while the legislation will give them the law to execute, they have to follow up and follow through to see that it is executed to the letter. And when things bounce back, it comes back to the Restoration Council or the legislation, which is very, very important. Now, so for you and I want to say that for Ambazonians to hear on television that the law body of the nation and the custodian of the law have been notified, because that's what the and then the judiciaries have taken over. What kind of democracy are we trying to practice in Amazonia? What kind of foundation are we trying to build up in Amazonia? There's something very wrong somewhere. That is true. Now,
just to support your line of thought, Dr. Epa, this is where the international community holds us for being in not the inability to produce another Southern Sudan where we just cannot lead ourselves. What example are we setting here? We created a government. It was our decision. And right, even without a country, we cannot conduct elections. Somebody gets into power and say, I'm not moving, I'm not gonna shake. There will be no election. How does the international community look at us?
Secretary Chris, it's really a very shameful situation, even to speak about these things on the national and international TV. That is why, see me, I'm trying to keep it short. It is not good for us. It's not good for Ambatoni. And the decisions which are being made by the executive, they should rethink about what they are doing right now. I have personally spoken with the president. I've had advice in a couple of things. It's not just about this election, there are many other issues in Amazonia. Sako'S issue, Meme issue, Momo issue, Maningwa issue. I have spoken with the president. I have spoken with my good two friends, Pastor Commando and Barrister Johnson. But I don't know what is really going on, and I think for me to say anything here, the international community will take it and then justify it. So we are moving forward. It is just a challenge. I want the international organizations to understand that it is a challenge for us to make our democracy more perfect, better. Without challenges for any organization, that organization becomes standard. I like challenges like this. Even last time we topic on ABC. I like challenges. When challenges come, it makes everybody work differently. The way things were before this crisis, it will how those things are right now. My concern is that our people, all the executive, is trying to form a certain type of group, and then they call it extended cabinet forum. And that is not just a forum, but talking to the LGAs executive, to the country executive, and feeling that they are all executive members of the interim government. That is not too correct. Because take it like in the United States, you cannot take Joe Biden cannot take the governors and the mayors of every city and say, look, we are the executive. Let us be against the legislative. And they try to walk that way around manipulation. It does not look good. I had a meeting and in that meeting, one person told me, one of my members told me, said, Dr. Clark, we'll support you when you do anything you do, we'll support you. I said, no, don't do that. I said, don't do that. When I do something wrong, blame me. If you advise me several times and you still do it, blame me. Because you have the unfortunate say.
Dr. Ipa, that what you are mentioning there is one of the fundamental problems that we have at the moment. With the leadership and particularly with the president. You have a situation where he is surrounded by yes people who will clap for anything, people who will say yes, Your Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief, our God-given president. At the same time, and I like Ambazonians to listen to this, at the same time, the president is not talking with his vice president. The president is not in good terms with the chair of the Restoration Council. The president is not in good terms with the Restoration Council. In fact, he has leaked out classified information from the Restoration Council. I hope you guys are looking into that. The president is not in good terms. His cabinet has been split for over a year, and that is why I walked out of there. In fact, the president stated at one point that the cabinet is not a conducive environment to even be in it. There is chaos everywhere. But the question is, when you say elections in 6 months, aren't you just promoting the chaos for another 6 months?
No, Secretary Chris. Within the 6 months, we are trying to solve the problem, because as the problems come, we interview you. You gave us certain people for you call. That is why it's taking some time. But within the 6 months, I bet you are not promoting things. Before the 6 months, we will be coming out giving not recommendations but some prescriptions, because once we made some recommendations to the president, he went and stood before the international TV and said they were just recommendations and that they were not prescriptions. It was a slap on the faces of the Restoration Council members, at least most of them. So we are going to give out prescriptions. I want the Ambazonian people to understand that. Because when you come on a national TV as we are here, and you say certain things, you know that people are going to come back and say it what they think it is. So I don't want our people to worry that the 6 months, it's not too far from now. But within the period of the 6 months, there will be some decisions made by the Restoration Council before we get to the 6 months.
On the
just to add before you come. Yeah, just to add before you come to support what Dr. Epa is saying here. You know, when crises come, the danger is to want to act very fast. There are two extremes. Either you act very slow or you act very fast. And that's the challenge that the Restoration Council has. Because a lot of people are blaming, oh, you are too slow about this. What are you doing here and there? We don't have to. Now, the crisis that is plaguing this revolution now has not started today. It has started a long time ago. And the cabinet was not able to handle it. Finally, it came over to the Restoration Council. And we are trying to put things together to go through. So the danger would have been, in this crisis moment, putting modalities for election to want to do things very fast because we want to rescue something. No, we don't want to use the crisis and then fall into a trap of flaming up things, but to have a reasonable time of getting the modalities while essential steps of communications are going on. You just mentioned from the beginning, before bringing us in, of the communique of the Restoration Council, Governing Council, to the presidency as a caution, because the Restoration Council is there not to fight the president, but to protect the president, protect the cabinet, protect the structures of the government, and protect the people. That is the simple truth. And when Ambazonians understand this, they will be able to sit up and understand the cause of the need of what we call today in social media the court of popular opinion. Now, to defend their cause, which is the drive of the people for their government and for them. It should not be anything about anybody for himself, but the people. Now, so if the presidency follow suit and comply with the Restoration Council, it is for their protection and the safety of the president. Now, the danger of any leader is imminent, because you don't only find challenges that surrounds your status as a president of the nation, but even your person. If the government collapses today, if this revolution falls today, it will be that President Sako'S government failed the revolution. That is a simple challenge. And every leader should know about that. You risk out not only to stand for the people, but then your public image is tampered with. And anything otherwise follows you suit. Your government, your ministers, your governors, and all your undersecretaries or whoever, when they fail or they do things in a funny way, unfortunately, it bounces back only on you. So we need to be very careful. Now, you just make mention of the crisis going on within the LGS and the different structures of the government, the counties, or whatever chairs. Ambassadors to come to their mind, and the interim government should come back to their senses. And everyone that dares to want to be a leader should come back to their senses. Look back the cases of Donald Trump. We can use that as a case of America being on the highest standard of democracy in the whole world. And the whole world is looking around to them. And they are trying to do everything transparently in the world of social media. Now, when people stood in for Donald Trump to support him, we are going to go barrier, we're going to go this and that. In the last minute, who stood there for him? That is simple truth. That's the challenge. I've been a pastor for over 24 years. And when you're phoning as a leader, people will come around, all they say, Papa Pastor, Daddy Pastor, here and there. But when things get rough, get sour, you turn around, you begin to look for your immediate committee members, not the general leadership of the church. You don't find anybody. When the higher leadership comes in to put things and order in place, because for every organization, like where I had been, had a structure of governance. And when they come in, you'll be shocked to hear who speaks for you and who doesn't speak for you. And at the end of the day, you're asking, I thought you were together. You say, yeah, I was thinking so, but I have to speak the truth before God and before man. We have come to a point where, like Dr. Epa said here, it's about being true to your conscience and being true to whatever you do. We have talked about God ordained revolution here, and we should be very careful the things we do, because everything we do, if I had a choice not ever to be a pastor, I would be glad. That is true. Or not ever to be a leader, I'll be glad. Because the more you face those challenges, the more trappy it becomes for you, for the temporal, before men, and even before God, who is the judge of all. So that's what I wanted to add.
All right. Thank you. You see, one of the concerns that people have out there is, again, about this duration that you are putting out there for elections to be conducted. You guys know, and you have quoted it here, both of you, exactly what the kind of campaign that Dr. Sako is out there making. He is splitting the interim government into two. As Dr. Epa mentioned, you now have another APP somewhere just giving a different name to make it look a little different. They are forming some women group to serve as a campaign to get him to stick on the same thing that we see in La République du Cameroon, where people come out and say, oh, our president forever. Now they are also talking about this ASSC second in March in Washington, D.C., and when they go there, within that 6 months, you will see motions of support coming up as in the CPDM. Our God-ordained president, only him alone can make Ambazonia to happen. You see, they are also going down to the LGAs and trying to make sure that Restoration Council members from the LGAs are taken out and replaced so that hand clappers who support them can then be pushed to the Restoration Council. A lot will be done unconstitutionally, illegally, within these 6 months. What are the pegs that will have to prevent this or to stop it?
Pegs, before the paper comes in, I want to say that the pegs has to do with every leader in place now at any level. Ask yourself, why are you there? Who appointed you? And who are you serving? Are you serving yourself, or are you serving a man, or are you serving Ambazonia? That's the first question you need to ask yourself. That's the thing. That's my drive and my passion. Now, when you ask that question, you'll be able not to fall in the traps of La République du Cameroon. You just, I mentioned this document you read in the beginning, which has been a caution to the presidency and to our president. That is true, of the interim government. Now, La République has a tendency of running away from one crisis or the other and trying to paint pictures or create structures or arrest people. You know, we are talking about an interim government. And if the Restoration Council say, please, during this time, we caution you not to do any reshufflement or any appointment, whatever, call it executive degrees or presidential degrees or whatever, it will help you. Now, but in La République du Cameroon and in corrupt government, people do what they do because they want to lobby for support. It will be a point where you're calling. You get your phone, you call me. When are you? Are you with me or against me? Things like that. Then you ask yourself, are you? It's not about you. It's not about somebody. It's about the people. You know, and when LGA chairs, county chairs, and EXCO members understand that they are risking with the people, we're talking about a people who are suffering torture. I am in the diaspora. I know what I've gone through to be where I am. But do you know that I'm talking now and I have people in line that have here, I have to talk with them who don't know whether they're going to see tomorrow or not. Till we have tomorrow. We don't know the record. Every day we have terrible surprises of shock, pain, and frustration to our people who are in ground zero. And the number is only increasing. And people have to know about this, especially them who are back in ground zero. That is true. Whatever we are doing here in this leadership is managed within the diaspora, which is on the basis of the understanding the situation, the complex nature of the wicked La République and their enablers, France, and all who are behind them. Now, and that's why ground zero needs to bear with understanding to us. But yeah, we need to understand they're the ones sustaining the struggle. And they must come to, there are people who live in bushes, under rain, under sun, under mosquito. They don't know what to eat, how to, whatever to do. But then we don't have to dampen with this revolution to the detriment of torturing these people to destruction in frustration. That is true.
And that is the significant thing about this six months window we are talking about, because I guess you guys understand how ground zero is going to be affected with the chaos. We cannot be saying Sako for 6 months. Dr. Ipa, there are problems in Fako. You mentioned them. There is your own county, Kupe Moniguba. There is Momo. There is Meme. I mean, you can name the rest. What is going to happen there within 6 months? Will they be allowed to take care of their own problems, or you will allow a lame duck president go into conduct elections there?
Secretary Chris, I didn't want to say anything on this international media.
That is fine.
But I've just said that within the 6 months there will be some prescriptions that will be coming out step by step. If, for example, you have mentioned about Paco, I mentioned about Paco, we gave the president, the presidency, I would say the executive, 3 months. And with the fact that the executive of FACO was well constituted, but we found out that it is not well constituted. In fact, it was supposed to be that every LGA will appoint or elect someone to be in that interim administration of FACO. But to my understanding, that did not happen. The president claims that he has actually fulfilled the recommendations that we gave him. I was in that meeting. He did not read the number 3 fully. So I just kept me quiet. I didn't say anything in that meeting. I just kept me quiet. So the 3 months has elapsed. We are going to sit down in the Restoration Council and take action. He has not come to us yet to say that, oh, the 3 months that were given have already elapsed. We are asking for, because we said if that interim executive of FACO still have some issues or problems to put things together, we could give them additional 2 months, that's 60 days. But since it was not even well constituted, we have not even gotten information from the president that, okay, the 3 months you all gave me have already expired. Now we need even some months again. Because of the AFCON, we have decided to allow it. But I will tell you, we are going to revisit that question of FACO, because the FACO people need to get their country back. Thank you very much.
Reverend Gina, you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I would have just a word to the Ambazonians in La République du Cameroon. When you made mention about 6 months duration, which would have been, I don't really believe so. I believe, like the paper said, the Restoration Council is working and will be communicating. That is the truth. The challenge at the moment has been the fight, the frustration, of people trying to buy one another. But then, when La République has 5 months or 6 months to do what, I think you are speaking from that consciousness, to do preparations or to put things together or to counteract things. They send out their governors and their senior GOs and their members of government, their sardine and their bread. I don't know whether Ambazonian has come to that point, but I pray we don't come to that point.
We are there. I think we are there already, because when you have all this fractionalizing that the president is putting in place, it's essentially what we see in La République du Cameroon with the CPDM.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I say, because I have not seen that in my county, I have not seen that in my LG, and I don't want to think that there will be anybody who can bring bread and sardine. I don't know what you can carry to go to Ambazonia, because in La République they go with bread and sardine and they give the people, and then sometimes with bitter water that has been corrupted, and they drink and then go off and then plunge themselves back into slavery. It cannot work like that in Ambazonia. The Lord has set us free, and we will be free. We have seen the hand of God. You, in the beginning here, you showed us a wonderful video about what's happening in the neighboring La République. That image, when I laughed here on there, I said, God, this is terrible. I've seen it on social media, but I didn't see the way it was so clear here. That you see they are struggling to raise up something internationally. That is the image. And it is so frustrating that there is no way for it to stand. When you look at it and you try to look at their leadership, from the president to the president of the National Assembly and to every segment, the director or the delegate of national security, you discover this is exactly the picture of La République in every sphere. It's a symbolic handwriting on the wall, speaking very loud and clear. And I think it's not only speaking to the La Républicans, but they're speaking even to Ambazonia, that I've delivered you from this mess. This is pain and frustration. This is international disgrace, and there are many of these videos and information that has gone viral during this short time. And I wish those who are really passionate within the Republic to rescue themselves should sit up. Why Ambazonians have learned the hard way, and they have, they have reason never to sit or to fall anymore or swing back anymore. Thank you.
Okay, let me take one more question. Gentlemen, you will agree with me that the Restoration Council has its share of responsibility for where this struggle is at today. People have accused the Restoration Council of being too slow to look into problems. You hold meeting upon meeting upon meeting. No statement goes out. There is no press release. None of you goes out to tell Ambazonians what you are trying to do. Of course, I do understand what is going on within your circles. You are trying to do investigation, but at least the Restoration Council should be able to cultivate the habit of going to the media to say, hey, we are investigating these issues, give us a little bit of time. But when you are not proactive, communicating, people think you are doing nothing. Are they not right, Dr. Epa?
Yes, I want to just say something. We had been working in the Restoration Council was that every member of the Restoration Council had to give feedback to their own to their constituencies about whatever is happening, give them information, being conscious of the fact that the status of the Restoration Council and its powers has been underestimated or have been highly attacked. That is true. So we have been trying to work at that point, and I want to think that every county, every LGA has had some information. Whatever they have not understood, they should have been able to ask their members that were sent into there. That is one of the ways we are trying to communicate. Not that it has been sleeping or not. Now, one of the things you say would have been coming up with timely information. That is true. We want to hope that ABC gives us or give the Restoration Council ample opportunity to talk on whatever Ambazonians need to know. We are grateful that we could have ABS and could be invited here. Now, but it could be, you know, the fear we have, and we like to caution Ambazonians and to caution every member of the communication department of the APC too, is the fact that, you know, we need to feed people with the information. You know, let people speak out the truth. Don't look for me because you want me to come and play nine. I don't know how to play nine, or play attack, or play defense, or whatever, or be a goalkeeper. You know, we need to be
come and sing the praises.
Yeah, or sing praises. It doesn't work that way, you know.
But then,
I think
Dr. Epa, before you get there, you will take this, add this question to the statement you want to make. One of the problems of the Restoration Council is that you are in the middle of investigation, and your guys are all over talking about the same investigations in which you don't want to put out a statement. I mean, how do you allow that to happen? That you are in the middle of an investigation and your members are out, like I saw on the other channel, trying to justify why the president is doing what he is doing and why Restoration cannot do what they want to do. I mean, I saw your vice chair, and I think ethics committee chair, talking about the issue that are still under investigation. Dr. Epa.
Well, yeah, it's a sad story anyway. Anything that we're discussing in the Restoration Council, you know, is supposed to remain in the Restoration Council. We can only brief even the public and our LGAs on things that are not classified. But there are some certain things that are not supposed to be said out. You know, even a leaked audio, that is something that the Restoration Council is looking into very, very critically. So it is really sad. if everybody, I've always advised, I say we do not have sentiment. We in the Restoration Council do not have sentiments. Just the Ambazonian people have given us the trust, and we should maintain that trust. But most often in every organization, you have a few people who will not be, decide to be objective. And that is where we have the problem. So, but again, Reverend Jenny has explained that issue very well. The sad thing is that those campaigns that have been made to different LCAs and counties just to support the only because the president has gone out. I had a meeting yesterday with the Roots LC. And some of them told me that, oh, it is the president who has come out and spoken, and that Marin Bakutema is speaking. They have already heard from them, and they believe what I said. I tried to explain to them more other things. And one of them even asked me a question. He said, if there was an election to do, well, am I going to vote the way they want me to vote? I just laughed. My answer, I didn't even answer that question. Another person said, until the time comes, that's when you can ask the paper question. But eventually, I made them understand that I have my own soul personality. Everyone instantly has this of my own soul. I am going to do what is right. As simple as that. When I see that something is right, and the whole agency says, no, I will vote the way I want. Until somebody else comes there later on, and then decide to do what they want to do. But for now, they want them. As simple as that. So I even want some of them to know now that I said,
oh, right. Now,
I'm not going to use my soul because some people are under the hand clappers and they want me to do something which is wrong. I will do it first for my own soul personality. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Epai, there have been allegations out there in the social media that you were in Cameroon in 2018 to run for elections in the midst of this Amazonian struggle for independence. Is that true?
I would say it's not true, Secretary Priest. Okay. Let me tell you, it was in 2007 that I went to that country when my kids in Loambo invited me. We have seen that scene with Johnny Larry for Republic of Cameroon. No, it is only the Loambo clan that suffered the most. There will be no mayor or assistant mayor coming from Luambo. No parliamentarian coming from Luambo. No, nothing completely as far as we go to local government is concerned, or even in the government of that land. So some of them called me to come out for the parliamentary election. I left the United States. I came. That was 2007.
Okay, the struggle had not started yet.
Started. And the last time I went to that country was the following year, 2008, December. And I came back January 2009 to make sure that I was in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration of President Obama.
When last were you on ground zero, Dr. Epai?
2009, January, which is more than 12 years now.
So but the allegation is false then?
That is false. They should be what? They should confess. Otherwise, it will be written on their own book of record in heaven, and they will pay it.
why do you think they are making these allegations against you?
Well, because they know I'm a strong member in the Resolution Council, and if I can be put down, then that's fine for them. Those are people who support people without even knowing the truth.
Reverend Ginny, what do you make of all these vilification, slanders, attack, blackmail that is ongoing from supporters of Dr. Sako? I mean, you know that they said Chris Anu is compromised. He reached a deal with La République du Cameroon while they were releasing his mother. And yet, Chris Anu hasn't changed in doing exactly what he has been doing from day number one of this revolution. Chris Anu's brother is still out there in the bush, and my mother cannot even travel because La République du Cameroon is still holding her visa and her passport. There is this vilification going around against Chairman Committee, against the Vice President, and even the personal advisor at the presidency, Dr. Atienjo, the personal advisor to the president, is being vilified. He's been kicked out of the cabinet forum. Same thing as the vice president was kicked out of a meeting in which the president was releasing feloniously this classified audio from the Restoration Council. You see, people have just been positioned all over the place to do one thing: attack people, vilify people, blackmail people. If you don't toe to their line, to their narrative, you are a black leg, you are a betrayer, you are this. What do you make of this, Reverend Jenny? Especially, I mean, some of this is coming from some pastors that we know in this struggle. And you are a pastor too. What do you make of this? I'm going to open the phone. You go ahead and answer the question. I'm going to open the phone lines and allow two of you to take questions from Amazonians. Reverend Ginny, go on, please.
Yeah, I want to say what you just made mention of is a very, very serious issue that's going on. Very, very serious. And it is true that in the revolution like us, those kind of things cannot be missing. Those are some of the crises that goes with the revolution. But then, when it comes to, verifying the life of one another, it depends who is this person carrying on the information. Unfortunately, people just tend to believe every information and carry it and run to anywhere. And unfortunately, some minds are already closed down, shut down from being objective. When you ask a question, maybe just to quicken and tickle the minds of people, to try to see through the different views, to sit up, to evaluate. In some forums, people say, did you hear the way he spoke? Did you think he was speaking like that on his own? He was sent. Or he was a black or red leg, I don't know, whatever. I think all of us here on this platform, if somebody is affected and infected this revolution, I am, maybe more than most of you. Maybe your Secretary Chris, you have your own level of having been affected. That's true. But if we were to do the evaluation, somehow we will be very defensive. I want to think that I'm ahead of you. You would want to think that you are ahead of me, whatever. Now, so, and I want to say that when we start carrying this kind of attitude, not trying to be reasonable about the reality of the challenges that go through and run with information without verification, and then blind of our minds and not want to listen or just carried away, it makes us foolish. Because at the end of the day, the truth is justice will prevail. The truth will prevail. We have been talking about this is a God-ordained revolution. This is true. And I don't say so because people have been saying, I say so for my own conviction. I've seen the hand of God. If it were not God, we wouldn't have been where we are. And no matter whatever happens, God who ordained this revolution, he is not respecter of any person. When he raises up a man and the man is not willing, he drops and takes another person and move on. And if he finds no person who believes in him, he can use anything. That is God, the sovereign. And the history of this God is so true. When you fool around in him I will advise anybody at any level, being an executive member at the level of the LGH county, don't be foolish about this issue, because when you're foolish, the God who is jealous about his people and the well-being and peace and prosperity of his people will reach out to you, and you'll be shocked what will happen to you at the end of the day. The wind is blowing and he knows how to do it better. So there's been a lot of foolishness, in attacks of one another here and there. But at a certain point, I'd like to believe that there are some things we can do to defend ourselves, but there's some fights we cannot fight. God will fight for us. We have had a lot of foolish fights here and there. And we must come to the point where we understand and we do our little bit with consciousness, transparency, and a clean conscience, and then God fight for us. That's true, because sometimes, no matter how you try to explain yourself, nobody will want to listen to you. And some will only pretend. But at the end of the day, justice of truth will prevail. The wind will blow, and everything will be exposed.
All right. Thank you. You guys stay put out there. Let's get some callers to share their minds with us. Hello.
Hello, secretaries.
Yes. Where you calling from, please?
This is Ernest. I'm calling from District of Columbia in Washington, D.C.
All right. All right. What is in your mind, sir?
Yeah, I want to thank you for picking my call and then for bringing your guest or the Restoration Council to our doorsteps. Thank you for that. And I love their contribution. I love what all of them are saying. I see who they are in what they say. Thanks so much. I'm also happy they said that the 6-month time is the time within they are going to work the entire whatever they are planning, and that they will start dishing out instructions as the time go. Otherwise, I was going to say that in order to keep the revolution going and nobody taking advantage, like you already mentioned, what the president is doing with people, I would like them to go and reason out if it is not necessary to tell the president that from what has been going on after the last memo of the 30th, they want to instruct now the VP to take over government instead of somebody sitting there like president with no signatures, and a lot of things are going on that are hampering the flow of this revolution. This is a question I want to ask them. And I know, Chris, your last word, we are still waiting for it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the call. 1 minute each of you, if you want to respond to this caller. Dr. Epa, please.
The caller, thank you very much for your question. We are on this international media, and there are certain things that we cannot actually say. Personally, I cannot say certain things because I know how those with negative thoughts can twist those words around. The 6 months, I've already said, we'll be doing certain things. Where we, in the past, we have not been coming out frequently to speak to you. I will be coming out frequently this time to speak to the Amazonian people. In the course of saying that the vice president should take over, I would disagree with that. The President Samuel Sako, is still the president, even though his term of office has elapsed. It is both his fault and the fault of the Restoration Council, who did not put the modalities before this time. I will assure you and assure the Amazonian people that everything is together. We love President Sako. Personally, I love him. He's a great leader. But where these things are going, I don't know. I can't understand. Someone may think that I don't love him. I have spoken with him several times. He's a very good guy, and when mistakes come like this, sometimes if you do not have a very strong power, you just continue to do the wrong thing.
All right, Reverend Jimmy, please, your point briefly so we can get as many callers to share their opinion with us.
I just want to appreciate the caller for, all the things he articulated. it encourages us to understand that we are not wasting effort here, wasting time here. We are trying to be very informative, trying to share out the reality or the facts that people can reason objectively. And the challenges we have had has been because we are on a path we have never been before. Because somewhere that is better than where we have been, and we are learning hands on deck. And by the grace of God, we are learning every day and adjusting things. The truth is that where we are now, we shall be on a better place tomorrow than where we are. And we are trying to do everything at our own level, at the level of the Restoration Council, and at the level of our LGS and counties. So let's forge ahead together. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Let's get to the next caller. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
I'm calling from Ground Zero, precisely from Mesa.
Okay, thank you. What is in your mind, sir?
Yeah, I do have a question for the two gentlemen in the studio there.
All right,
I want first to thank them for the good work that they're doing in the Restoration Council. I want to ask the gentlemen that there is a communique out there that has been sent, I think, from the chairman of the Restoration Council that was sent to the president not to conduct any appointment in his cabinet. And they're talking about the 6-month election to come. If in case the president goes ahead and does the nomination and appoints some members of his cabinet, in order that will favor them for the election, favor him for the election in 6 months' time, what are they going to do if he goes ahead and continue to do some of the appointment? And then secondly, I had the Reverend Nenji who was saying that it thanks to ABS that they have the opportunity to come on there and say some of these things are going wrong with the interim government. I want to find out from them if the ABS, that is the people's
ABC, you mean?
Yes, the ABC, that is the Brazilian People's Media. They, the Restoration Council, they don't have a voice in the ABC. Is the ABC being controlled by the executive, that's the president and his cabal?
I will. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the two. Thank you for the two questions. Let's allow them to give us the answers. Dr. Epa, you start, please.
Yes, I will start with his first question. The president has been informed that he cannot do those type of appointments or reshuffle the government at this time, because the case or the issues began in his cabinet, and because they failed to address those issues, that is when those issues were brought to us. And we have already advised that he should not do any appointments or reshuffle the cabinet, because those issues that were brought to us have not yet been addressed. If he goes and decides to do otherwise and do the appointments or reshuffle the government,
Dr. Epa, sorry if I may add something. Where do the counties fall in this question? Because as we have mentioned, they are rushing into the LGAs and trying to eject people, replace them with people who are supporting them. Does that injunction stand or apply to the LGAs? Any elections or any form of appointments in the LGAs?
What has been done is only for the president. In the LGAs and the counties, I don't believe that we are going to revisit that, because there is a certain campaign. I've told you about the LGA at the meeting yesterday, and the type of question I was asked. Unfortunately, I spend my money, I do all the other things, and nobody can say, "Oh, I'm not doing this." I try to work everywhere, even on mass, everywhere I work, I can do. So it's very hard for them to push me around in the plain Gucci or even in this specific part. So having said that, let me go back to the question that our colleague from Sako'S asked if that happens, that the president does that, we are going to bring it to the attention of the Amazonian people, and it will be something that I think it will not be so good.
All right. Reverend Junior, please.
Then he asked another question. What was that second part of that question? He asked another part.
Yes, whether you people do not have, I cannot go on ABC, but I think surely you guys, both of you were on ABC yesterday.
On ABC,
Friday, right? Saturday. So, yeah, that's answer. Reverend Jenny, please, briefly, so that we can get as many callers as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it is true. So, like Dr. Epa said already, the caller, we are grateful for that question. The answer partly is that you should be thinking about what we can do. It's not about what, in fact, the Restoration Council is there for Amazonia, but then working with the people of Amazonia. So it's about thinking. If it happens like this, what will happen? Already, the Restoration Council are working on that. So, and it will never be against the opinion of the people. So rest assured and have confidence and trust. Now, as concerns ABC, whether we have access to control ABC or not, the Restoration Council doesn't have the power to go control it. It's rather unfortunate that a state corporation or a state TV like ABC is always managed by the government. That is true. That's the, they will tell them what to do, how to, carry on their kind of programs. And we have
but you are the government.
For the government, that's the truth. And when it's very objective and very democratic, they give access to everybody. That's what it's supposed to be. So we have been invited there, and I believe I should still be invited there till tomorrow. That's true. And if I should have a program to want to present there for the people of Amazonia, it's not about anybody, it's not about myself. It's about serving the people. They should give me access to it. And,
all right.
And things will get in place.
All right, thank you. Let's get to the next caller. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good evening, because I'm calling from Bamenda, Northern Zone.
How was Ghost Town Day today, sir?
Complete, as usual.
All right. What is your contribution?
Yes. Thank you for this opportunity to express myself, sir. I'm very impressed with the presentation this evening. It shows that whatever happens, Amazonia has a future, especially in terms of the rights of the people and constitutionality. So essentially, I am addressing a message of appeal to President Sako, to Dr. Sako. Dr. Sako, when you took over the helm of this revolution, things went on very well. There were challenges, but this revolution has evolved under your leadership. We have scored several victories, several triumphs, President. It was my belief that with these triumphs, with this victory, you will be motivated to put Amazonia first on top so that we reach Boya quickly. But I am very, very surprised, like many Amazonians, that you seem to be the one transgressing the very constitution, the very platform that gave you the possibility to triumph for Amazonia. We are very, very surprised. It is very clear that, for example, that elections were supposed, your mandate has expired. Elections are supposed to take place. You are the one who is supposed to organize those elections. Mr. President, what is happening? Please do not fall into temptation, please. Do not fall into temptation. Come to your senses for the sake of Amazonia. Keep ego aside. Do not allow negative people to influence you, Mr. President. You are still our president, sir. But Amazonia will always be on top. Amazonia will always be on top. So we cannot allow anybody to destroy what we have accomplished so far. We cannot allow anybody to compromise what we are determined to give these francophones for what they have done to us. So, Mr. President, once more, come to your senses, sir, and allow democracy, allow constitutionality to prevail in Amazonia.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope he's hearing you. Thank you. You have a great night, sir. Okay, let's get to the next caller. This is from Washington, D.C., I guess. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Please, can you turn down the volume of your set and focus on the phone?
1 second.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Maryland.
Okay. What is your contribution?
Yes, my contribution is first, the Restoration Council. First thing they need to do is they need to abolish the Judicial Committee. Why do I say that? First, the Judicial Committee is supposed to be an independent body. So how can a member of the Judicial Council has separate position like Barrister Johnson? Because if a judicial committee is not an independent body, then it's answerable to the president, and which is not good for the rest, for the struggle. A judicial committee should be a separate body, independent from the executive and from the legislative. So I think they need to dissolve the Judicial Council, because the Judicial Council are all appointed by the president, which makes it wrong. Number two, I think that the Restoration Council has the utmost power to dissolve or to endorse any new structure that the executive is about to create, like the APP that has been changed or reformed or recreate.
Essentially, you call it duplication.
Duplication. The Restoration Council has the right to put a stop to that, because it's not constitutional. Anything, any structure that is supposed to be formed, the Restoration Council has the. It's just the same way in America. When the Homeland Security was about to be created, it was sent to the Congress and it was endorsed and overwhelmingly voted for that new structure to be created and become a part or a branch under the executive. So what under the executive, the executive. So normally, whatever the president is doing is totally wrong. Number three, I want to ask the Restoration Council if it's in the Constitution that the president should be paid some money, and if not, from what we have heard, that they give the president some money and he received that without any bias, without any complaint, then why then is he saying now that election or not election is not in the Constitution, when they are part of stuff that he has received which are not in the Constitution, and he has no problem over that? And number four, the law is not on his side. Number four, because one, he himself made this utterance that give me a couple of money and give me 2 years, I will get you put to boya, and he has not met up with his own obligation. So the law is not even on his side. Number five, honestly, the worst thing that ever happened to this revolution is Barrister Johnson joining this revolution in the diaspora. He was supposed to be left in Africa, in Cameroon, because I believe Abdul Karim is more vocal in Cameroon than him, and nothing ever happened to him.
All right.
I believe if Johnson was made a territorial administration like Atangaji, he would have been worse than Atangaji under La Republic. Seriously.
Thank you for your contribution. Remain blessed, sir. Let me give, please, for this, we really want to hear from our Ambazonians out there. If you can just give your talk to this in 50 seconds, please. Reverend Jenna, start with you.
Yeah, as concerns the caller mentioned about the Judicial Council to be dissolved by the legislature. Now, I like Ambazonians to understand that the legislature has its own branch, the judiciary has its own branch, and the executive has its own branch. That is the government. Now, responsibly, the Restoration Council or the legislature is above the judiciary. And unfortunately, at the moment, we don't yet have courts where we can try matters. That is true. That's why it's not fully functional. And for some people to erroneously begin to think that there is no constitutional power in the hands of the Restoration Council because everything has to pass through the judiciary, it's a fallacy. It's an error, you know. And that is the error, because when the Restoration Council passes the law, it is those laws that has to guide the judiciary in every court sessions, in all their deliberations, and the legislatures will still supervise that it is executed rightfully by the executive. When the judgments are being passed, follow up will be done by the executive, and implementation by the executive, yet supervised by the legislature. So there's a lot of mix up about that, and people are arguing and confusing Ambazonians that, oh, they have no power because everything has to pass through them. That is the reason why we got the part of the message saying the decisions of the Restoration Council have been nullified by the opinion of majority of the judiciary. What a mix up and confusion in our foundation as Ambazonians. Please, that's what I could have said about that point. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's get to the next caller here. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, where are you calling? Where are you calling from, sir?
From Ground Zero, Fako, precisely.
All right, and what is it? How is Fako? Where precisely in Fako? Boya, Victoria, Tico, where, sir? I learned there was an explosion around the Boya Stadium. I think yesterday, or was it today? Is that correct?
No, it was in Limbe.
Oh, it was in Limbe. Where precisely in Limbe?
It was around my 4.
My 4. Okay. How was Victoria today?
There was ghost town, even though the place is heavily militarized.
All right, thank you.
That was perfect.
Thank you. What is your contribution today?
Yeah, I want to first of all appreciate you for your endless effort to see Amazonia free. I have a question. I have a worry. I want to first of all make us understand that we are fighting for a liberal nation, a nation that will not be like La Republic that we want to depart from. So if it is proven that the characteristics of La Republic are also embedded in Ambazonia movement or in the new country that we are fighting for, I want to believe most people will prefer to stay out of it. We all know what is happening inside the La Republic, where the president doesn't want to leave power, where they will manipulate the constitution and to their own benefit. And the same thing that is almost happening here now. I have this worried to our panelists. If this constitution that they are talking about was good enough to impeach President Ayokabe Siseko, why is it that at this crucial moment that they want to take up to a period of about 6 months? 6 months. We are in a war time, and we know what can happen to lives and properties when you keep things stuck for 6 months when things will not be going on. So I don't know whether they are taking into consideration the amount of lives, the amount of properties that will be lost in these 6 months that they are trying to put everything in place. We must be proactive.
Thank you.
That's the first question. If this was good at the beginning to impeach President Siseko, that I believe can still be workable now. Then secondly, I have a question especially to Dr. Epa from Kupimanunga. I know in Fako, but I come from Kupimanunga precisely. And when you look at Kupimanunga as a whole, Kupimanunga that used to be so hot has become a dead zone. It's no longer fighting. And when I go around, the guys will tell me that they have no weapons. So I don't know whether the draft money that they collect, where do they put Kupimanunga money that is not reaching the ground? The guys are there.
Thank you.
No stick, nothing.
Thank you. Reverend Ginny, we've kind of lost Dr. Epa. I see a frozen image on his screen. But he asked the same question I asked from the beginning. If this current constitution was good enough to impeach Siseko, good enough to elect Dr. Sako into office, it should be good enough to conduct another election, and then whoever wins, if he stays, he works with you, the Restoration Council, to then revise it. Please, briefly, let's get to the next caller.
Yeah, his comments are true. The constitution was right, and it was true. It was what facilitated elections to put Dr. Sako in place to be the president at the moment, and it's what took the right full laws and guided the impeachment that took away Seseko from office. And it is the guy that is giving us the way forward for the election of today. So it's just a challenge to those people who are thinking and say, oh, it is unconstitutional that you want to go about the election. It was election that brought him to office. It was election that installed him to office. And it is through the light of it that we are doing what we're supposed to do. You know, and you cannot get into the door and close the door and sit and decide otherwise from within. It doesn't work that way. If it did not work from the beginning, why should it be working now? Or if it worked from the beginning, why should it not work now at the end? The people who are thinking otherwise, the question is, where have they been? What was done to do any correction if there was an error? There was nothing done. Now, why should it be at the moment? That is what I could say. So I support what he's saying 100%.
Senator, please, can I say something?
Okay, Dr. Epa, I see you are frozen on your screen, but we can hear you.
Yes, okay. I'm sorry that my screen is frozen. I think Reverend Chini has explained that of election, and let me go back to what a comrade asked. That is from Kemaniba. What Kemaniba is very silent. My brother, let me tell you the difficulties, and maybe you know what is going on with Kemaniba. That situation started in Birmingham, where the minister, Elu Polche, came to Birmingham, called all the chiefs in Birmingham local government area with all the native doctors, gave them some money, and asked the boys not to fight. And the boys decided to lay down their arms and that was it. In fact, that was the last time you could hear a gunshot in Birmingham was 2019, when the boys came from duty to come and fight in Birmingham. And since this struggle started, Gucci has lost more than 10 boys fighting in Birmingham, and that has been a very, very serious issue. Now,
all right, Dr. Epa, will we tackle those county issues on another occasion? Let's end that there and try to get some more callers here. So hold on. Hello.
Hello, Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the federal capital.
From where?
From the federal capital.
From the federal capital. Thank you. I love that. That is Boya.
Yes, extreme.
What's your contribution?
Okay, thank you very much for always coming online to clarify on the problem we have at stake. And thank you for having the two gentlemen come to throw more light on the issue.
Okay.
All right. My question is following from the presentation they have made for the past 2 hours. It comes clear to me that the Restoration Council happens to be the supreme organ within the structures in the IG. Am I correct?
Yes, I would say yes. Though the Restoration Council and the executive, they have equal powers, but certain the power to make rules and laws are given to the Restoration Council. So somehow you are correct.
Okay. So with the powers that lie on the shoulders of the members of the Restoration Council and with what is going on, I think the communique or the letter they sent to the presidency, is a stitch in time. And equally today, I came across another letter from the presidency that has, I can say, is suspending you or laying you off your duties as the Secretary of Communication for the interim government. I wonder if you are aware of that letter or that communique from the presidency.
Yes, I'm aware of that, but you don't have to mind about that because the letter from the Restoration Council and news died. It is null and void because that is coming after the Restoration Council wrote to him. And besides, ladies and gentlemen, let me chip in this. We are in the middle of a crisis, and I made a complaint to the Restoration Council. The Restoration Council is yet to rule on that problem. Again, you see the way the president is behaving. As this, in fact, I'm beginning to call him a head of state. You know what a head of state means. He doesn't want to follow the rules, the laws. The Restoration Council has a case, hasn't said anything, and you put out a letter saying, oh, you are essentially out of the cabinet because you left your position. And he himself has said the cabinet is terrible. It's not a conducive place to do business. So whatever the case, ignore that later because that from the Restoration Council trumps that. Thank you for the call. Let me allow Reverend Ginny to respond to that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there is you have answered it perfectly. The Restoration Council have the decision to make, and what they send out, the presidency already counts, so it annuls and nullifies everything otherwise that they will do. So ambassadors should be waiting about what the Restoration Council is going to say, because this problem left the presidency came to the Restoration Council. I think they have heard sometime in the past, the president talked about it and said, well, it has gone past my level. It is at the level of the Restoration Council. And I think some are confused at the moment because he came back to them last week on Wednesday and told them that the Restoration Council has not been able to solve the problem. And I don't know whether he's trying to recover it or whatever. But then the Restoration Council has a say, and they should wait for that say.
Secretary Chris, can I add something?
Yeah, I think you should add wise.
Yes, sir. Go on quickly, briefly.
Okay. I think you have answered the question yourself, and the Reverend Junior answered the question. I will advise the president to respect what the Restoration Council have sent to him. We don't want to bring problems to our people, the Amazonian. This will be a very heavy problem. There shouldn't be any fight between the legislature and the executive. But the way he is going, he wants to bring this revolution to a halt. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Let me take you to the next caller here. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Secretary Chris.
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Germany. I'm calling from Germany, sir.
Okay, thank you. What is your contribution?
Yes, my contribution is I want to first of all thank the members of the Restoration Council who came today on APS to enlighten the Amazonian. Someone like me, I thought the Restoration Council, they were doing like nothing to resolve this issue and to structuralize our IG. But from what is happening on the planet today, I'm very, very excited. I have hope, because at one point in time, me and friends were like losing hope that what is happening in La République is gradually coming to us, and it's like we made a mistake to get where we are. So with what we heard from the Restoration Council now, it is like a relief that there are really people there trying to do the right thing. Because when we observe the energy in which Mr. President and his like they have put in place this while just to consolidate power, it is mind blowing. At time we asked, I thought this thing was a voluntary work.
Yeah.
But the way they have been moving all along, I have been so afraid. I thought maybe there's something hidden that are profiting from the struggle that we don't know. And I was confused. The energy is too much, so much that if this energy was put in places where there are problems, like in Manungwa, that doctor just said that maybe we would have been very far by now.
You are very correct, and that is a question that That is a remark for raised again and again. If the energy that the president is exercising out there now, creating all these factions, was employed in solving the problems from cabinet to the LGAs and the countries and regions, we won't be here today.
Yeah, so I could not imagine they will have this energy, all these resources to do all what they are doing now. It's so amazing. They are working so hard just to consolidate power. However, I want to thank the Restoration Council. It is giving me hope. It means we are on the right foot. So they have our blessing. Let them do it so that Ambazonia, we should not regret for picking on arms to defend ourselves. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. Let's get to the next caller here. This is London. All right, hello.
Hello, good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. You're calling from London, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and what is your contribution?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I just want to thank you for bringing the Restoration Council members. I mean, this is long overdue because I think that they should have been on the ABC before things get out of control, like right now, because from what I've listened to what they've said, I'll just have different questions to ask. Before I listened to the President Sako, he said that he's not against any election. He's saying that the constitution needs to be amended. I just want to ask, was there any point in time where the Restoration Council was being notified by what was wrong with the constitution? Because he's saying that they need to look at the constitution before he can stand for election. So I think that they should have at least, look at his point, what he's saying, and then amend it and then go for an election. I don't know if at some point when he said that he doesn't want to stand for election, there was a problem, because I remember he's saying that when he came to the
Hello. I think we lost that caller there. All right, we lost him. Let's get to the next person on the line.
Secretary Chris, can I respond? Secretary Chris.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Good evening, afternoon. I don't know where you are calling from. Where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Poland, Secretary Chris.
From Poland?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. And what is in your mind?
Yes, let me start by appreciating the two gentlemen that came forward today to at least say something so that we can understand at least the way forward. And one thing I would tell them is they should know that Ambazonians now depend on them, the Restoration Council. So whatever decision they take, be it from left, right, front or back, they should know if it gets to the worst, Ambazonians will blame them, not even President Sako.
Exactly.
Now, I will not take much of your time, but a little bit plea to President Sako. A good leader is not all about the good intentions he or she has, but a good leader is one that will listen and take a step back once the people say, hey, can you please go back? No matter how good your intentions are, if you listen to the people and take that step back, it makes you a good leader. Why not the best? Thank you very much. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thank you. They are hearing you. I think you are empowering them and they are glad about that. Let's take a little more questions from others. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Where are you calling from, sir? Okay, thank you for the call. What is your contribution?
Yeah, I have just some questions to ask to the panelists who actually represent the Restoration Council.
All right, briefly, sir.
Yeah, I want to ask this question to the Restoration Council if actually they had considered the psychological impact that the people on the ground will feel for the 6 months tenure they are adding to Dr. Sako.
That is a question everybody is asking. Yeah.
6 months of continuous negative activism.
Correct.
Continuous slander and delayance. And what are they telling the international community that okay, if they want to say let's force the Republic for a mediation or ceasefire, and then the Amazonian people have no representative, which they know is in a stable situation that can actually stand without a faction or without dispute, internal dispute. I don't know if they had considered all of this before they are actually giving that 6 months. And if they had actually spelled out certain ethics that should be respected by activists and members of government to make sure that there is sanity in what we do. We should be focused on what we are doing and avoid negative comments, and because the blackmail is too much, it's for everybody. It's not just trying to sabotage just one person, but sabotaging the entire revolution.
Right.
And the people on the ground are suffering. They see it, to them, it can discourage even the ones that were like having a lot of hopes. I think the council need to really sit up to know that the people down, their feelings should be considered in what they are doing while we are out there in diaspora. I think that's what I have to just I have to contribute this evening.
All right, thank you. I will allow them, please, 1 minute each. Dr. Epa, I start with you, sir.
Yes, I think we are very sorry with our people from Ground Zero and even in the refugee camp for this 6 months. But that was the best we can reach. It was a very heated debate, and we came up with that resolution of 6 months. However, we want to assure you all, the Amazonian people, that within the 6 months, as I said, there will be a lot of communication with the president and us, and we shall be appearing on ABC. Where we don't have the chance to get to ABC, we'll come to ABS and to inform our people. So please, I just want all the Amazonians to have a full head. The issues have been handled by the Restoration Council, and before you realize it, the 6 months will come sooner, very soon. So within that period, things will happen. And we wish that the president will be working with the Restoration Council for things to run smoothly. Thank you very much.
Reverend Jenny, briefly.
We want to thank the callers summary for all the contributions. It's giving us assurance that they are following up and they are giving us the hope of assurance or confidence. And we want to promise that the Restoration Council will not fail for any reason. We are sending out communiques at different levels, reaching out to different people, even the activists, to caution. We are not happy about what's going on. It gives the La Republic and their enablers an open hand to want to rejoice, but we will not glory over that. So we're working together. We are glad for those feedbacks that are giving us the good push.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let's get to the next caller here. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Angola.
Okay, this sounds like the one and only Alaji out there.
Yes.
All right.
It's Alaji.
Well,
yes. My question is when we are fighting war, we don't give time to the oppressor. Then they are giving almost 6 months to organize something. Then what would be the problem with the fighters on the ground? That is my concern. And how are we going to help the fighters on the ground? Because now they still give President Sako up to 6 months, which that is enough. And fighting war, the commander-in-chief don't have to leave any space for the operation to operate. That is my concern with the Restoration Council.
I think that's a very good concern there, Alaji. The Restoration Council, I mean, you are limiting somebody's powers, and yet he is a commander-in-chief, though outgoing. How does he prosecute the war or direct the war on ground zero within these 6 months?
Yeah,
thank you.
While the procedure is being followed, can we go on?
Yes, go on, please.
Yeah, I was saying that while we are following through the 6 months, the provision of the law also gives cautionary measures, meaning that we cannot let things escalate or go worse than where it is. If anything happened otherwise, the law has provisions for stepping in for emergency. It is so true, and the Restoration Council is up to that.
All right, Dr. Ipa.
Yes, the defense law is there, that is in place within this 6 months, starting with this APPOINT. We don't see things happening. We are going to take action. Thank you very much.
You are muted.
Let's get to the next caller here. Hello.
Hello, Secretary. Good evening, Mr. Secretary.
Good evening, sir. It appears your volume is quite low. Can you get closer to your microphone?
Okay, let me just take it out. Having the headsets, I'll take them out.
Okay. Where are you calling from, sir?
Do you get me now better?
It's better. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Europe, Central Europe.
Central Europe. Okay. And what is your contribution?
Yeah. Secretary, I'm very appreciative to everything you're trying to do, and I'm very happy for the panel that you got today. It's been a long time since we wanted some people to tell us what's going on in the Restoration Council. What I want to say is I just want to empower them. I just want to empower them to try and do something that is very good. That's, they should think about the people first. They should not think about anybody. This is about the people of Amazonia. And I don't care if Sako runs this election and wins it, a free and fair election, and wins it, I will support him 100%. But there must be an election. There has to be an election in Amazonia, because it's the country we are trying to build, and we cannot build a country on a foundation of dictatorship. It's never going to work. It's not about security. It's not about Maringua. It's not about any of you people. But we don't support anybody who is trying to impose on the people. It's not going to work. Please, the Restoration Council should take this into consideration when taking their decisions. There has to be an election. That is how it's going to be. Thank you very much, Secretary, and I want to thank your panel once more. Bye.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. This is ground zero. This is a poor connection. All right. Hello. 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 Can you turn down the volume of your TV, sir? Hello. Hello. Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm getting you.
Yes, where are you calling from?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Where are you calling from?
Are you getting me?
I can get you, sir. Go on. Go on. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the northern zone.
Okay. It's a bad connection, gentlemen. Let's see this next caller. Call failed. Okay. This is another bad connection. All right. This will be the last caller here. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Secretary. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling in from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Minnesota.
Okay, wonderful. What is your contribution, sir?
Yeah, thank you for picking my call. I have a list of questions here to ask your panelists.
You have 1 minute, sir.
Okay, before I go on, I just want to say something that is really something I want to comment on something. I think Amazonia is a country that we are trying to build to make a difference in the world. And from a look now, I think everybody in that country is trying to fight for either power or anything. I cannot believe that mature people and very intelligent people can be fighting when there is a war going on. Instead of them trying to see how to execute the war, everybody is fighting for the post, and that will be very
No. You are misleading. You are misleading people. Are you not following the line of thought here about the Constitution and election? Who is fighting who, sir?
Okay, I'm just generalizing everything.
But put it in the right context. The question here is about elections and the Constitution and what the president is trying to do to insert himself in power to Boya.
Okay, yeah, sir. Just give me a minute. Let me express my own feelings.
Well, you have less than 1 minute already. I gave you 1 minute. I want you to ask your question so they can answer, and we have others to call.
Okay. Let me go on. You have one question from me, and the rest of the questions goes to them. Okay. Your question to you is that there is a document out there from La Republic of Cameroon Security government saying that circulating around that with the names of some Amazonians on it, that they used fake names to travel to Cameroon to arrange for the disruption of the struggle and destroy the interim government, and your name is on it. How can you? What take do you? Can you tell Amazonians on the alleged document?
That question is childish. Go to the next question.
Okay, the next question is that there is an allegation that the Security Council you pocket the executive. That the question is that you accusing the government that Aringwa pocket the government in her legs, and the government too is accusing the Security Council that
nobody said Aringwa is pocketing something in her legs. Again, you are not getting your facts.
Okay, and the government is accusing the Restoration Council that you already also pocketing them in and are now talking. The Restoration Council now is now talking on your behalf and going against the Constitution. What is the Security Council have to say to the Amazonians? Because the law, according to what they are saying, that the law states that there should be some.
Sorry, sir, I have to let you go. You are not asking your question. You've had more than a minute to ask a question. I don't know what is happening there with that caller. Let's take the last person and we go. This is from Asia. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Cyprus.
Okay, all right. Quickly, 1 minute for your question or comment, sir.
Yeah, I want to extend my greetings to the panel as I seated there with you, and to ask this question. I think one of the things that God did was that when he sacked Satan from the chambers of heaven, he did not take away his power from him. And this is the same thing the Restoration Council is trying to do. That is telling the president that we are giving you 6 months when his tenure has expired. Also, leaving all the powers to this president when his tenure has expired. He has the finance controlling, he has the army controlling, and now there's an allegation that the president is already trying to sponsor a militia on the ground. Also, can it not be that as he's controlling finance, before these 6 months expired, the president can do something that before the Restoration Council can understand, or the Ambazonian can understand? There will be a faction answering the president, another faction trying to come back to the new president, and things they juxtapose position. So the Restoration Council should think about that, because the heart of man is desperately wicked. The way the president is going, fighting for power, the president can do anything within these 6 months that they have given him, when he's controlling the finance, controlling the army, and he can turn things around.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And this is a very legitimate question, and I hope that not just the two of you, but the rest of the Restoration Council members out there, I hope they are listening. Because again, I have no doubt those 6 months will be chaos, and you will be held responsible for it. Let's just take the next caller here. This is, I don't know. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the Great Empire State.
The Great Empire State, that is New York, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is your contribution?
I just wish to make some recommendations to these gentlemen of the Restoration Council. First of all, let me say thank you to them for coming up to speak to the people, so that the people can get them clearly. And thank you so much for the great work you are doing. Now, my recommendations are these: why they are struggling to restructure or put the constitution together. I understand that there is some sort of a large government that we have in a revolution, which is not supposed to be that. I think sometimes this power of a thing, it comes as a result of trying to extend the wings in a broad base. And I equally understand that sometimes we do this because, or the Restoration Council or the presidency did this because they want to create more awareness to raise funds. Now, being a revolution, and a very complex revolution that we have in Ambazonia as of now, I wish that the Restoration Council can trim down the structure of this government to 4 departments or 4 ministries per se. For example, we have the Department of Defense, the Department of Finance, the Department of Communication, and Foreign Affairs, that is for diplomacy. Now, I think within the interim government, small other groups or departments, they keep coming up within the various departments or ministries. For example, we have the Security Military Council at the level of the interim government with the DSS. I think being in a revolution like this, where we don't have the CIC on the ground, we need to know exactly what we are doing. I mean, we have the ANC here, then we have the Supreme Military Council. To me, I don't see that it's necessary to have the Supreme Military Council and the ANC, that's the Ambazonian National Security Council, where that serves as the military wing.
Right, those are the duplications we're talking about.
Exactly, and at the level of the DSS, I think we should trim that thing, or what they call Department of homeland security or stuff like that. When we get to where we can start like bringing all these things together. Let's just go by Department of Defense, where we consider the ANC to be the supreme organ of this interim government, because if we start trimming or bringing down other organs within the same department, it's not good. And again, we have to look critically on who gets appointment to those various positions, because I have been following up, I've been keeping tabs on the evolution of things within the revolution. I think a lot has not been done in the defense. I'm not saying that the defense department is not doing a great job, but I think there is a disconnection of how defense activities should be conducted. So,
all right, comrade, we definitely cannot dive into those issues here within the limited time that we have. Maybe when we bring the defense people on board one of these days, then we can raise those issues. But thanks for the call.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Let's get 2 more callers and we'll call it a day, because this subject is very critical. I really love so many people to call to give us their opinion. This is Ground Zero. Hello. 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 Well, that caller is struggling to speak. Let's get to somebody calling from Ghana. Hello.
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 Hello. Yeah, I'm calling from Ghana.
Okay, sir. What is your contribution?
I just wish to thank all of you over there and to ask that Ambazonia people have been talking too much on the Boya issue. Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go on.
Yes, I've been saying that we have been talking too much on this AFCON in Boya, in Limbe, Boya in Victoria.
Yeah.
Been talking too much on this Limbe AFCON. Where have we placed this? I wish to know what are we going to do as concern the Victoria AFCON, since we are now facing all these problems like this. I don't know whether we are still focused on that side, because it will be a disgrace if those matches take place in Victoria.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, we cannot answer that question here. That is for our military technocrats. Thank you for the call. Okay. Hello. 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 Hello.
Good evening. Yeah, good evening, Sir Chris. I'm getting you, sir.
Good evening. Where are you calling from, please?
Yes, I'm calling from Ground Zero, precisely the northern county.
Okay. What is your contribution?
Yeah. Yes, my contribution to the Restoration Council, please. The time given to us about the restructure of the organization of the president, it is too long. It is too long. The time they're giving us is too long. At least they should have. I think maybe what would be wise for them to do now is to go back and re-strategize and keep it within 3 months. It is too much, and then limit his powers. If they don't do that, then it will be it will be chaos. It will be chaos, and they should understand the stake which we are right now. Considering the fact, look like Bali, look like the Bui, look like the other countries that are already running away from. Considering the fact that there is a problem within the IG, it will not look good, and many will still go split. So we think that they should really sit up and put this thing pretty fast before 3 months.
Thank you. They are hearing you. All right, let's hear from others. This is Belgium, I guess. Hello.
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 Yes, I'm calling from Belgium. I'm so happy that you picked my call. I'm calling with a bleed. I was sleeping, but I just ran down that I have to say something because I just stumbled on a communique from Ashu Kemi. I don't know how to pronounce her name. The activist that Secretary Chris has been dismissed by the president, which the Restoration Council just said he should halt his powers for now. This is chaos. I'm talking with a bleeding heart. This is chaos, and this 6 months is too much. Imagine what is going through our minds. Imagine the pain we are going through, the uncertainty. 6 months is too much. It's half a year. It's just too much for us to remain in this pain. We are a laughing stock out there. The Republic is laughing at all. This is what they want. Secretary Chris has been dismissed. Go to Kemi Ashu's Facebook page, you see it there. What is all this? What is all this? Are we fighting ourselves? So the Restoration Council have the power to put a halt to this so that we should focus and stop
the Restoration Council already did that since November 30th. So what I will say to you is ignore what you see on Kemi Ashu. It is null and void.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay.
And Secretary Chris is not going anywhere. The caterpillar never come yet.
Okay, thank you, because I just jumped from my bed. I said, no, I cannot sleep. We are bleeding. Please, I'm happy that I've heard from you people and that at least something good is on the pipeline. We can have rest. We can have peace of mind. Thank you very much for the good job.
All right, thank you.
And more courage to you, Secretary Chris, for bringing out the truth.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, my. Let's get a last caller. I think this is, where is this? Hello. 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 Please turn down the volume of your set. Okay, where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from La Republic. I'm calling from La Republic, sir.
Okay, what is your contribution?
Okay, sir, I will start by greeting you. I will start by saying Happy New Year to our Secretary Chris, and Happy New Year also to the... Hello, sir?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go on.
Yeah, so, sir, I have a question to ask the Restoration Council. My question is, on Saturday, I watched ABC channel when Paddy was having a show with Barrister Fro. And Barrister Fro was like saying, the Restoration Council were supposed to have their election, that they haven't conducted their own election. So my question is, if the Restoration Council does not conduct their election, our president won't organize our presidential election, because it seems as if there is something that is going on, and the 6 months that they've given is too long. So if Barrister Fru can say the Restoration Councils needs to organize an election also.
The Restoration Council is not to, the Restoration Council isn't supposed to organize any elections for itself. The representatives at the Restoration Council are from the LGAs. When elections are conducted at the LGAs, they send their representatives to the Restoration Council. That is the way it works.
Okay, sir. Because normally this 6 months is too much. People are suffering. We are suffering. Some of us, we need to go back. We are suffering. We are in La Republic suffering.
Thank you. They are hearing you. They are hearing you, and I really hope that you are not the only one. Almost every caller has raised this issue of these 6 months, and I want to hope that all members of the Restoration Council are listening to the people's cry here. Thank you for the call. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end the calls there. Unfortunately, we can't take every call. Reverend Ginny, Dr. Epa, I give you each a minute to just round up address your people from the calls that you hear from them, please. Reverend Engineer, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I want to. Yes, I really want to appreciate every caller. The calls have been so encouraging, and one thing I return home, and members of the Restoration Council who are following us from here, is that assurance they're giving us that they have confidence, they were discouraged, they were waiting for such a moment. We are sorry we never came forth before now, and we are trying to do our best. And as much as we have the opportunity anywhere, we are ready to share out the information, because it's important. When people are not connected with information, they go blind, they're in darkness, they're helpless, and anything can happen. So it's our burden. We are happy we're working together, and we promise to do our best, and within the time, God will help us, and we will arrive at a good decision that will serve the revolution.
Thank you. Dr. Epa, please.
I want to thank everyone who has been watching. I want to thank the Ambazonian Restoration Forces. I want them to know that they should not be involved in what is happening in the diaspora. Continue to work the way you have been working. Everything will come to pass. The Restoration Council have been given the mandate by all of you who have been calling for us to work harder, and we are going to do just that. That's what we needed. We have given us a peace, and we thank all the Ambazonians and those who are having the refugees, those in the duties, everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Engineer. Thank you, Dr. Epa. You have listened to the voices of Ambazonians out there, and the message is very, very strong. They cannot wait for 6 months for this to be over. I really hope that you carry this message to the rest of your members at the Restoration Council, and I want to hope that they too have been watching. Ambazonians cannot endure this torture, 6 months torture that the Restoration Council is trying to impose upon them. I hope that you will all go back and reconsider the pleas, the calls from ground zero. You are not writing a constitution within 6 months. You have said that is not on the table. So you should be able to come out with the modalities for that election within 3 months and conduct it and free this kind of chaos, free people's mentalities from this chaos that we're having out there. It is very, very critical. But again, thank you very much for joining me today. I look forward to bringing you all back again. Good evening, sir. All right.
Thanks for having us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for today. But before I go, I like to remind you, please, many of you again keep on asking how you can support ABS. Please, that is our website. We ask you to go to the website and click on the donation or fan club button, and you will be able to enroll to support ABS so we can keep on doing what we are doing here every week. I look forward to coming up on Wednesday with another powerful presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Powerful, educative, and informative. That is what we're going to be doing here. That's what we're going to be doing here. You want information that strengthens the revolution and build up faith and strength in our people. That is our mission here. So please, we ask you to support what we are doing here by going to the website, register for our fan club, and also make a generous contribution to sustain what we are doing at ABS. It was a great pleasure to be with you today. I look forward again to coming back on Wednesday with another very, very powerful panel. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you good night.
No.